The faint, distant sun was a mere pinprick in the inky blackness, a stark contrast to the brilliant, swirling orange and brown of Jupiter, looming majestically over the horizon. This was Titan, a moon once considered an unlikely cradle for life, now a beacon of human ingenuity and evolution. 500 years had passed since the first intrepid humans had established their initial domed settlements on Titan's frigid, methane-rich surface. The early days were brutal, a constant battle against the elements and the limitations of their own biology, but humanity, ever resilient, had adapted. Not just culturally, but biologically. The Titanians, as they were now known, were a new breed. Their skin was a pale, almost translucent gray, their eyes larger and more accustomed to the dim light. Their bodies were slender, their bones denser to combat the lower gravity, and their lungs more efficient at processing the unique atmospheric composition. They thrived in their dome cities, harvesting the vast oceans of liquid methane and ethane, which proved to be an inexhaustible source of fuel and raw materials. Titanian civilization blossomed. Their cities, a mesmerizing blend of organic architecture and advanced technology, dotted the methane seas, connected by intricate networks of submersible craft and aerial pathways. They became the undisputed masters of planetary exploration, their sleek, methane-powered ships venturing further into the solar system than any before them, driven by an insatiable curiosity and the abundance of resources at their disposal. At the heart of this vibrant society was Kaelen, Titan's beloved ruler, with his gentle gray eyes and an infectious laugh that often echoed through the grand methane crystal halls of his city. He believed fiercely in peace, collaboration, and the shared growth of all species, human or otherwise. He saw the diverse evolutions across the solar system not as a hierarchy, but as a rich tapestry of human potential. His closest confidant and life partner was Lyra, equally radiant and a brilliant scientist, and their two young children, Alara and Jax, embodied the joyous innocence of Titan. But their prosperity was not unnoticed. Across the solar system, other human colonies had also evolved, albeit differently. On Mars, the Martians were a rugged, red-skinned people, hardened by the harsh, dusty environment and constant struggle for water. Their technology was focused on resource extraction and military prowess. The Earthers, still clinging to their ancestral home, were a diverse, crowded populace, their planet straining under the weight of centuries of industrialization. Other, smaller colonies on Europa, Ganymede, and the asteroid belt each had their own unique adaptations and struggles. However, a deeply ingrained social hierarchy had solidified over the centuries. Earth as the birthplace of humanity, and Mars, with its aggressive expansion and military might, had positioned themselves at the apex. Their populations, with their original human forms and direct lineage to the first spacefarers, were seen as the inheritors of humanity's legacy. They controlled the central governing bodies of the solar system, dictated trade routes, and held a monopoly on advanced terraforming technologies. The architects of this aggression were High Chancellor Valerius Thorne of Earth, a charismatic but ruthless politician, and Marshal Kaelen Varr of Mars, a hardened military leader whose ambition knew no bounds. They saw Kael's pacifism as weakness and Titan's independence as an affront to their perceived dominion. The first incursions were subtle, probes disguised as scientific research vessels. Then came the saboteurs, attempts to disrupt Titan's power grids and production facilities. The Titanians, initially pacifist and focused on exploration, were forced to develop defenses. Their advanced atmospheric craft, once used for mapping distant moons, were repurposed for patrol and defense. Then came the declaration of war. A joint communique from Earth and Mars, echoed by the smaller colonies they dominated, demanded unconditional surrender and immediate access to Titan's resources. The communique was laced with condescending language, dismissing the Titanians' right to their world and framing their unique evolution as a devolution. Kaelen, heartbroken but firm, refused. The skies above Titan, once serene and filled with the gentle hum of transport, became a chaotic ballet of laser fire and explosions. The Titanians, though never soldiers, fought with an unexpected ferocity, using their innate understanding of their environment and advanced non-lethal defense technologies to repel the invaders. Against all odds, the Titanians were on the verge of repelling the invasion. It was then that Thorne and Varr proposed a peace summit. They invited Kaelen, his family, and his closest advisors to a neutral mothership for talks. Kaelen, ever hopeful for peace, agreed. He brought Lyra, Alara, Jax, and his closest advisors, his heart swelling with optimism. The news of the impending peace talks swept across Titan like a wave of relief, and the entire solar system watched with bated breath as the peace summit was telecasted live to billions. But Thorne and Varr had no intention of peace. The summit was an elaborate trap. As Kaelen, his family, and his friends sat down at the negotiation table, armed guards burst in. In a brutal, televised massacre, Kaelen, Lyra, and all their companions were cut down. Chaos erupted on Titan. Leaderless and reeling from the horrific betrayal, the Titanians fought on with newfound, desperate fury. But the joint forces, having decapitated their leadership, pushed with renewed aggression. After a deadly struggle, Titan fell. The rich methane oceans, the advanced cities, and the unique culture of the Titanians were now under the iron fist of Earth and Mars. Amidst the carnage, a flicker of defiance remained. Commander Eva Rostova, an Earther officer who had grown disillusioned with the ruthless ambition of Thorne and Varr, witnessed the massacre with a horrified heart. During the final moments of the invasion, she found Alara and Jax, miraculously hidden by a loyal Titanian guard, cowering amidst the wreckage. Defying direct orders and betraying the joint forces, Eva spirited the children away in a stolen scout ship, vanishing into the uncharted depths of the galaxy, determined to raise the last of Kael's line far from the reach of the tyrannical solar system. The memory of Kael's laughter and the horrific betrayal fueled her every move. The hope for a different future now rested in the hands of two orphaned Titanian children and a renegade Earth commander, adrift in the vast unknown. Final pause as the epic prologue concludes.